friend. Blink.
Coming at you live from Studio One in the bell tower at Holy Flame Castle. Eskalon Online. Daily recap. Pot.
All right, so you ready to dive into some digital drama?
Always up for a little digital drama, right?
Because today we are looking at Eskalon Online.
Okay.
But not the epic quests and loot drops this time.
Mm-hmm.
We are going deep into the chat logs of the Escalon Inquisition.
Ooh.
Which, if you don't know, are like the secret police of this world. And
yeah, they don't mess around.
no, they don't mess around
Wow.
at all. What's so cool about this is it's like raw, unfiltered access. It's like where it flies on the wall in like their super secret lair as they're planning stuff.
And we've got Mercer, who's like the top dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Laying down the law. And then we've got Garm, who is a newbie.
Yeah.
And he's about to get schooled.
Yeah, like trial by fire.
Yeah.
Poor Garm. From the get-go, you can tell these two clash.
Big time.
Personality-wise.
Yeah. It's like, you've got Mercer, who is all about discipline.
Yeah.
Control.
Yeah.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
A little scary.
Yeah, they even say, he provides for his soldiers, but he's like, don't mistake this for something it's not.
Exactly.
Like, you're not friends.
Yeah, this isn't a social club.
Yeah.
Right? This is, you follow orders, you get what you need to survive, and that's it.
Yeah.
Don't even think about asking for anything more.
And poor Garm.
I know, right?
He's like, but what about feelings?
Yeah, a little empathy, maybe.
Yeah.
Just a little. Mercer's like, nope, shut down. Immediately.
Yeah,
like a dragon in a fire sale.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, we're not doing this.
Business only.
Yeah.
And that business is keeping order.
At any cost.
Yeah.
At any cost. And that brings us to
Speaking of keeping order.
this propaganda.
Yes,
man.
the propaganda.
This poor leaflet situation.
Propaganda misfire.
Yes.
Right. You've got Garm, eager to please the boss.
Yeah.
Ends up completely botching the distribution of these leaflets that were supposed to, sway public opinion about this suspected witch.
So even in a fantasy world, image is everything.
Apparently so. It's like a medieval PR campaign gone wrong. What were these leaflets supposed to do? Like, what was their goal?
That's the million gold piece question, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the actual content of the leaflets is not revealed in these logs.
Okay.
However, we do know that Mercer wanted them spread far and wide,
Yeah.
blanketing the city with information, or perhaps misinformation, to prepare them. That's the word that jumps out to me, prepare.
Oh.
It hints at a campaign designed not just to inform, but to influence, to shape public perception of this supposed threat.
So it's not just spreading rumors.
Yeah.
This is strategic.
It's calculated.
Yeah.
It's deliberate.
Like they're prepping the city for something.
Exactly.
And poor Garm, instead of this tidal wave,
Yes.
he creates a puddle.
Just a little ripple, a little drip in the bucket.
Yeah.
It's classic rookie mistake.
Classic Garm.
We need to talk about this wedding because the Inquisition's reaction to this, supposedly joyous event reveals a whole other layer of intrigue.
A wedding.
Yes, a wedding.
Okay. Let's talk about this wedding.
All right. Yeah. Let's do it. This whole wedding thing really throws a wrench in things, huh?
Yeah, you think a party would be a good thing, right?
You'd think so, right? Like a little celebration, a glimmer of hope in all this darkness.
Yeah.
But Mercer, not a fan.
He is not a fan.
Not even a little bit.
He goes from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Immediately. It's like someone asking to borrow his favorite axe and then suggesting they use it to chop up a wedding cake.
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah, calls it mist, says the world's ending. Come on.
It's a fascinating contradiction, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, the Inquisition, they're all about protecting society.
Right.
Maintaining order.
Right.
Right. But then Mercer's little outburst there suggests that they see any celebration, any kind of joy as a threat in itself. It's like they've become so focused on the darkness, they've forgotten about the light.
Celebrating. He's furious that they would even consider following a new leader, someone he doesn't approve of.
Oh, okay.
He calls it blindly rushing to the next.
Yeah.
This suggests that the Inquisition's definition of order might be more about control than actual justice.
So it's giving off some serious Big Brother vibes.
A little bit, yeah. You've got Garm, Right? Making rookie mistakes with the leaflets, highlighting those internal power struggles.
Yeah.
And then you've got this whole wedding fiasco that shows just how deeply their control reaches.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right. Oh, speaking of the wedding, there's one part I can't get over.
Okay.
When Mercer finds out that someone wants to use their hall, the groom-to-be offers him wurst and meat as like a thank you.
It's almost comical, isn't it?
So funny.
This desperate attempt to appease the very people who are dead set against any form of celebration.
It's like trying to sweeten a deal with a dragon by offering him a slightly more charred goat.
Exactly. And I think this little detail, this wurst and meat peace offering, it speaks volumes about the disconnect between the Inquisition and the people they claim to protect. Yeah. On one hand, you've got people like Hodor, the groom-to-be, who just want to celebrate, build a life. Yeah. And on the other, you've got the Inquisition. Yeah. So consumed by their mission. Yeah. So suspicious of any deviation from their doctrine that they've lost sight of basic human connection.
We're heading straight into the heart of Eskalon, where the city and the Gefolge...
They're the group that controls the surrounding swamps.
Right, the swamps.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to hammer out a peace treaty.
Which, let me tell you...
It's not easy.
Not smooth at all.
It's a lot like, imagine wading through quicksand. That's what we're dealing with.
I can practically feel the mud sucking at my boots already just thinking about it.
Well, and what's so fascinating about all this is that it's not, some polished diplomat in some grand hall exchanging documents. This is, we're about to unpack like the rawest form of negotiation.
Yeah, this is
digital logs from their version of like an online meeting platform. Yeah. It's like we're getting a fly on the wall view.
Yes.
Of a high-stakes poker game here.
With the interruptions, the side arguments. All the tension. Enough to power the entire island, probably.
And you'll be glad we're here to guide you through it, because let me tell you, these logs are chaotic. People talking over each other, disappearing for stretches of time. It's
a mess.
It's a mess.
You almost feel bad for Bregor, the Order Adept, who's just trying to keep everybody on track.
Right.
But it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
And these cats are powerful leaders with a history of, bad blood.
And the stakes are very, very real.
Oh, absolutely. For everyone on that island.
So our mission today, if you choose to accept it,
please do,
is to sift through all of this digital drama, uncover what each side really wanted out of these peace talks.
We have to try to read between the lines.
Yes, exactly.
Because what they're saying and what they mean are often two very different things.
We'll see how betrayals, simmering resentments, how all of that casts a shadow over these negotiations. And by the end, you'll be able to decide, did they actually achieve a lasting peace, or is this just a temporary truce? What do you think?
Well, let's put it this way. Imagine having access to the chat logs of a particularly heated city council meeting.
Okay, I'm with you.
But with much higher stakes.
Okay, so the fate of an entire island hangs in the balance.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
That's what we're dealing with here. We see power dynamics at play, the subtle jabs.
For sure.
The moments when those carefully crafted masks slip. It's fascinating.
It's all about who's got the leverage, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about the players. Who are the main players here?
Okay, so on one side we have Gavin.
Eskalon's governor, right?
Eskalon's governor.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who, he likes to be in control.
Savvy politician.
Very savvy. He wants peace, obviously, but definitely on his terms.
Of course, of course.
And on the other side, we have Remekji.
The Donna of the Gefolge.
The Donna. Now, Donna, that's their term for leader, right?
Right, right.
Don't let the title fool you.
No.
This is a woman who is practical. She's blunt.
Straight shooter.
Straight shooter, absolutely. And she's deeply suspicious of the city. And honestly, who can blame her?
Well, especially with what happened with, a certain thief.
Oh, we can't forget about that.
Sabrina.
Sabrina?
That name sends shivers down everyone's spines for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get into why. Her shadow looms large over all of this.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we have Vorn, the Archmage.
Right. Can't forget about him. The most powerful figure, arguably, on the entire island.
Tries to play peacemaker, but not without his own agenda.
Of course, of course. There's always an angle, isn't there?
Always an angle.
And Vorn is playing 4D chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers.
Right. Vorn's interesting because he wears two hats, really. He's head of the Order of the Holy Flame.
Which values neutrality and the greater good.
Exactly. But he's also this master strategist, and he's incredibly aware of how to use his influence to, shall we say, achieve his goals.
He definitely knows how to play the long game.
Absolutely.
But let's get into it, the nitty-gritty. Where do we even start?
Well, I think we have to start right at the beginning. And you can cut the tension with a knife, right from the get-go.
Right, yeah.
Rummagey comes out swinging. She is furious about some pretty nasty rumors that are being spread about the Gefolge. And it's one of the city's commanders, somebody that they describe as a warmonger.
Right.
So there's already these animosity.
Oh, yeah, you can feel the animosity just radiating off these laws.
Oh, absolutely. And it's clear that this isn't just some recent spat. There's a history here. Baggage. We're talking about the bridge incident from a while back, accusations of kidnapping, even torture.
Right, and then there's the whole debacle with Sophie, which we don't even have time to get into right now.
No, we could do a whole nother deep dive on that.
Oh, easily. But the point is...
it's all connected.
It's all there.
The baggage.
Under the surface, yeah.
And it makes trust incredibly difficult. It's like they say, to make a deal, you have to at least pretend to forgive and forget.
Right. So let's talk about the deal. What's on the table? What are they actually trying to negotiate here?
Well, first and foremost, the Gefolge. They're on the hook for repairing that bridge they, allegedly damaged.
Right.
And we're not talking about a small sum here. We're talking about 3,000 silver.
That's a king's ransom.
That's a lot of silver. And this is where it gets interesting, because we start to see the leverage game in action. The city, they offer to waive some of the cost, but there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
Always.
In these negotiations, there's always a catch. What is it?
They want the Gefolge to hand over one of their own, a man named Eskalon, and they accuse him of all sorts of crimes.
So it's like a quid pro quo. You give us Eskalon, we'll forget about, a chunk of that silver that you owe us for the bridge.
Exactly. And the Gefolge, they counter, and they essentially try to pass the buck on these bridge repairs.
Oh, really? To who?
They say it should be the Order's problem.
Oh, interesting. So they're bringing a whole other powerful entity into the mix.
Exactly. They're saying, hey, you want peace, you pay for it.
That's a bold move for sure.
It is, and it almost works until we get to this seemingly insignificant detail. A missing cleaver.
A cleaver?
A cool, as they call it.
Okay.
And it throws everything into disarray.
Wow, a missing cleaver almost derails this whole peace process.
It highlights just how fragile the situation is.
Yeah.
Any perceived slight,
any little thing,
any whiff of dishonesty could completely shatter this delicate balance they're trying to build.
Wow. It's like they're walking on eggshells here.
It really is. And the city's adamant about getting this cleaver back, or at least being compensated for it. And even Bregor, who's ever the patient mediator, he tries to smooth things over. He even suggests they just call it, even on all past grievances, if the Gefolge will just play ball.
Just bury the hatchet. Let's move on.
Exactly. But then, just as things seem to be settling down, we get to the real issue.
The elephant in the room.
The stolen silver.
And that's where Sabrina comes back to haunt them.
Exactly. The Gefolge is convinced that a city regimentler, one of their soldiers, is sitting on a hoard of their silver, stolen by none other than Sabrina herself.
And we're not just talking about a handful of coins here, are we?
No. We're talking about a significant amount. The Gefolge, they claim that Sabrina was last seen with this particular regiment caroler, and becomes this huge point of contention.
So what does the city say? Are they just like, nope, never heard of her?
Pretty much. They basically tell the Gefolge, prove it.
Oh, this isn't good.
It's not. And that's where this fascinating concept of sulfured silver comes into play.
Sulfured silver? Now I'm intrigued. What is that?
So Warren, always thinking 3 steps ahead, points out that the silver stolen from the Gefolge, it would have a unique chemical signature because of the materials that they use in their tannery.
Ah, so it's like a fingerprint linking the silver back to the scene of the crime.
Precisely. If the silver that they find in this regimentler's possession has that same residue, well, it'll be pretty difficult for the city to just brush off the Gefolge's claims.
So what does Gavin say to that? I mean, he can't be happy about the prospect of raiding one of his own soldiers' homes.
No, and he's understandably hesitant. He even suggests maybe Sabrina took the silver with her, or even more outlandish, that it's at the bottom of the sea.
Oh, come on.
Right.
That's a bit far-fetched, even for this situation.
It is. But it becomes this classic dilemma.
Health.
Do you prioritize an individual's right to privacy or the collective need for justice and reconciliation? And the tension at this point is, well, let's just say it's thicker than ever.
You could cut it with a cule, you could say.
Exactly. That Donna feels like she's not being taken seriously, and Gavin is caught between a rock and a hard place. Even Bregor, the eternal optimist, he seems to be sweating a bit under his order robes.
So what happens? How do they get past this impasse?
Well, Vorn, in a classic power play, cuts through the noise. And he throws out not one, but 3 potential solutions to this whole silver standoff.
So Vorn's got 3 solutions, huh? He's got a plan for everything, that one.
He does, doesn't he? Well, his first idea is, well, it's actually pretty straightforward. He suggests the city just, helps apprehend Sabrina.
Okay.
And then they let the Gefolge deal with her and the silver, basically saying, hey, here's your problem back. You deal with it.
So just hand over the problem child and wash their hands of it. I'm not surprised. I mean, it seems like Sabrina really burned some bridges with the city, too.
Oh, absolutely.
But we both know Sabrina's long gone. Finding her is going to be like trying to catch smoke.
Easier said than done. Right. And that's where Vorn's second proposal comes in. So he says that Bregor, with a warrant from the governor, of course.
Gotta have that legal authority.
Right. He gets to search the regimentlers' home for the silver.
Okay. Makes sense. But I bet the Gefolge aren't going to be satisfied with just knowing it's there. They want their silver back.
Exactly. And Vorn, being the master strategist that he is, throws out this third option, almost casually, like he's adding another pinch of salt to a recipe.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What's the magic ingredient?
He proposes that the Order just foots the bill for the bridge repairs.
Wait, hold on. The Order is just going to swoop in with their endless coffers and solve everyone's problems. I don't buy it. What's the catch? There's always a catch.
There is, isn't there? On the surface, Vorn's playing the role of the benevolent peacemaker, right? But look closer. He's positioning the Order as this ultimate authority, above the city, above the Gefolge, with the resources to back it up.
It's a power move disguised as generosity. Very clever. But I can't imagine the Donna is just going to let him buy his way into this kind of influence.
You're right. Remichu's far too sharp for that. And she comes back with a counter-proposal. She wants a 50-50 split of whatever silver they find at the regimentlers' place.
Wow, so we've got the Gefolges demanding silver, the city hesitant to cooperate, and the Order waiting in the wings, money bags in hand. What happens next?
Well, Gavin, I think at this point, maybe a little frustrated, throws out another idea. He suggests giving the Gefolge a break on import taxes for a while.
As a way to, what, compensate them for the stolen silver? I'm not sure how the merchants of Eskalon are going to feel about that.
Right. It's definitely a more palatable solution for the city than just, forking over a pile of silver. And Bregor, ever the voice of reason, tries to explain to the Gefolge that the city wouldn't actually be losing money, just, making it more slowly.
But I get the feeling that Donna isn't going to be swayed by financial arguments. She's all about principle, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Remichu sees this for what it is, a Band-Aid solution. It doesn't address the real issues of theft and accountability.
So they're back to square one.
It seems like it, but then Vorn cuts through the noise with a question that gets to the heart of the matter. He asks if both sides will agree to respect each other's justice systems.
Whoa. Okay, this is big. I mean, up until now, any crime that crossed city swamp boundaries, it just turned into this whole blame game.
Accusations, retaliation, bloodshed, the works.
Right, like with Escalon. The Gefolge were furious that the city even thought they had the right to arrest him, let alone try him in their courts.
It all goes back to that fundamental distrust.
Right, so Vorn's basically saying, look, if you want this peace to actually stick, you both need to acknowledge each other's laws, even if you don't always agree with them.
Exactly. And he's not just talking about trials and sentences. He wants assurances that even a minor dispute, like a stolen cleaver, won't spiral into a diplomatic nightmare.
I mean, it's a tall order, but it makes sense. You can't build trust without some kind of mutual respect, right?
Right. But here's the thing. The Gefolge's legal system, it's still, let's just say it's a work in progress.
Informal.
Very. They even admit that, for now, the Donna has the final say in most matters, which, to be fair, has worked for them so far.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But something tells me that's not going to fly with the city.
No, not at all. And just when it seems like they might be wrapping things up, Vorn, he drops his second bombshell. And this one's not a suggestion, it's a demand.
Uh-oh. What does he want now? More money, more power?
He proposes a war boost, a financial penalty payable to the Order if either side breaks the treaty.
Hold on, so they have to pay for starting a war. That's one way to discourage conflict.
Right. He argues that by putting a literal price tag on conflict, they'll be less likely to engage in it. But honestly, it feels more like he's holding peace hostage, don't you think?
Totally. And I doubt either the Donna or Gavin is thrilled about having to pay the Order to basically act as the island's enforcers.
You'd be right. They both flat out reject the war tax. And things get even more tense when the Donna, clearly fed up by this point, suggests they just cut out the middleman and negotiate directly.
Whoa! Now that is a bold move. Telling the Archmage, the most powerful figure on the island, that he's not invited to the peace party. I wonder how Vorn's ego is going to handle that.
He does not take it well. Let's just say, Vorn reminds them, in no uncertain terms, that the Order is not just some passive observer.
Oh boy, here comes.
They are a force to be reckoned with, and they will intervene, one way or another, to preserve the peace.
So, how do you recover from that? One minute you're talking treaties, the next minute the Archmage is basically threatening to rain fire and brimstone if anyone steps out of line.
It's a good question. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? Everyone storms off, peace treaty in shreds.
Yeah, you'd think so, but this is where things get really interesting.
Because Gavin, he just wants this whole thing over with. He's a pragmatist at heart.
Always a politician.
Exactly. He even tries a little diplomacy himself, compliments Remichy on the, what were they calling them?
The refreshments, a little local flavor.
Right, the refreshments. But the Donna, you know she's not one to be swayed by a few kind words. She throws in 2 more conditions before they signed anything.
Okay, what does she want now? Don't leave us hanging.
Don't worry, these are a bit less, shall we say, inflammatory than Vorn's war tax. First, she wants guarantees of diplomatic immunity for herself and Gavin if war ever breaks out.
Smart. Keeps those lines of communication open, even in the worst-case scenario.
Exactly. And her second condition, she wants a formalized joint expeditions to investigate that dark wave. Remember.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The strange energy surges, the whispers. I thought the Gefolge were hesitant to work with the city and the Order on that.
They were. It's almost as if they realize some threats are just too big to handle alone.
Or maybe they just want in on whatever secrets that dark wave is hiding.
Could be.
Yeah.
Either way, it seems like they finally found some common ground. So, treaty time.
You'd think so, right? But Vorn's not quite done yet. He makes it very clear that while he's willing to let that whole war tax thing slide for now, it's not off the table.
It's almost like he's saying, this isn't over, don't test me. And he even implies that he's willing to use, the Order's resources to, shall we say...
Encourage,
yes, both sides to play nice.
A not-so-subtle reminder of who's really holding all the cards here. So all this to say, did they actually achieve anything, or was this whole thing just a big waste of time?
It's complicated. They did agree on some key things. The Gefolge will pay for the bridge, eventually.
Slowly but surely.
Right. And they all agreed, at least for now, to try to get along.
But that war tax is still looming over everything like a sword hanging by a thread.
It is. The Donna, she refused to sign anything mentioning it.
So, a very, tentative victory at best. They might have averted disaster this time, but something tells me this isn't the last we've heard of Eskalon and the Gefolge.
Not by a long shot. Like a volcano, Seemingly dormant, but with the potential to erupt at any given moment. And that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating, isn't it?
Absolutely. We get to go beyond just the surface level. We see the power struggles, the uncertainty. It's like we're right there in the room with them.
Trying to piece together what happens next.
And in this case, what happens next is anyone's guess. But I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of Sabrina and her stolen silver. What do you think?
I think you might be right. That and the Order seems awfully interested in keeping the peace, even if it means resorting to, shall we say, unconventional methods.
Which makes you wonder, what are their true motives? Listener, we want to hear from you. Do you think the Order has Eskalon's best interests at heart? Or are they playing a deeper game? Let us know your theories. Until next time.
Taste.